Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all okay. I don't think I've ever done a Q&A before. In all them years, I don't think I've done a Q&A before. So this is quite new. But I'm just going to do it off the cuff because the questions are actually on my phone and that's what I'm recording on. So I've wrote all the questions down that I've got from YouTube, from Instagram, and I've just put them all together and I'm just going to answer them all. I haven't wrote any notes like I normally would. I just thought I'd just answer as if you was asking me the questions, and basically what I replied to people at the time. So yeah, just grab a tea, grab a coffee, get cozy, and let's get started. Okay, is it normal to feel exhausted and tired all the time? Oh my God, yes, it's totally normal. I mean, are we even human if we don't complain about being exhausted and tired 24/7? But how we deal with fatigue is completely different than normal tiredness. We all know that. It's completely worlds apart. So when I'm tired, I just get on with things and that's how I deal with it. But when I have fatigue, I deal with it slightly different, I think, when I have fatigue, because I think there's certain days where you know you can't go on, you can't carry on. But I feel like since I've had children and I've had something else to focus on, I've actually been better at that. So I have to take them to school, and I'm the one to do it. So that's mainly, I think, what kind of gets me up. Whereas obviously back in the day, before that happened, I probably would have cancelled work, stayed in bed and just slept. But that only probably made, well, say probably, it most definitely made me feel worse. So I think the main thing for you to do if you feel really exhausted and you've got your fatigue is try your hardest to get some fresh air, being one, which I always try to do. And two, I get up and I get dressed properly, because I know that if I just throw anything on, scrape my hair back, don't bother making an effort and putting my makeup on, I will feel worse. So through the years, I've realised and I've noticed that if I make an effort, then you naturally feel just a little bit better in yourself. They're the two main things that I do. This might sound like a really silly thing, but I got rid of my dressing gown, because even if it, try this, give it a go, because I'm telling you now it will happen. If you put on your dressing gown, within 10 or 15 minutes, you're slumped on the sofa, you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're all like, oh, I'm so tired. Because that's literally how you feel when you put a dressing gown on. So I've got rid of the dressing gown. I've done away with the dressing gown. And if that's you, get rid of it. Honestly, within 2 weeks, you will thank me for that. So yeah, I think the hard thing is putting up with it, and kind of, I say putting up with it, is kind of getting through it, because you can be so different, as you probably know, from one day to the next. So I would say just go easy on yourself, and you know, if you feel exhausted, if you have to cancel something, don't feel guilty or bad for that, because that's one thing I've learned over the years. There'll be more nights out, there'll be more invitations, there'll always be that other time. So don't feel guilty for just cancelling your plans and just resting, because it's what your body is telling you to do at that time. So yeah, I think they're just the main things. I try my hardest to get up, get dressed, get ready, and I've realised when my fatigue is at its worst, I probably get to about 1 o'clock, and that's when I have a little bit of a slump. But I do my hardest to get up and get out in the morning. Also, definitely make sure you get your bloods rechecked, because I felt exhausted all the time. And even when I was in remission, I still felt exhausted. And my consultant used to say to me, oh, you know, you've got 2 young children. I'll be completely honest, I've had 2 young children that I've never had trouble with putting to sleep and then sleeping through the night. They never get up, they never have, and I've, touch wood, been really lucky with that. So I couldn't blame it on the children because I knew that I was getting a full quota of sleep every single night. So I knew that that wasn't the case. But after a lot of deep diving, my iron levels were critically low, and that only took extra iron level testing. So if I've actually said this before on a video, if your hemoglobin and your ferritin is coming back absolutely fine, then ask for more in-depth blood iron testing, because that's only when it come back that mine was critically low. So, and that will be why I felt like that. Yeah, so definitely get your bloods rechecked. Okay, number 2, what steroid did you take and did it help? Oh, steroids. They're a tricky one, aren't they? Honestly. So I have a love-hate relationship with steroids because I feel like they have been my saviour through the years. I mean, when I couldn't find a medication that worked, they was the thing that got me out in the morning. They was the thing that allowed me to be able to go out with friends when I was younger, which otherwise I wouldn't have. So they was my absolute saviour. It was just the side effects that I got with them at the time, and not realising actually some of them until after. One being obviously the moon face that you get, the physical, but mentally mainly, they was testing. I'm not gonna lie. I am very much I've always been the same, quite a happy person. I'm quite jolly. I don't let things get me down, but I was all over the place on them. And through the years, I've realised now that if I have to take steroids again, I kind of warn people. You have to warn them. And this time, a year ago, I went back into hospital and I had a very high dose of steroids. And I actually said to my husband at the time, I really need you this time round. I'm not going to be very nice. And I warned him. And you know what? It really helped that we spoke about it beforehand, because I think if it had just happened, because at the time, so long story short, I told him that how I get and what I really need in that moment, and all I want is a cuddle. I'm getting emotional thinking about this because it only feels like yesterday, even though it was nearly a year ago. But I just said to him at the time, I was like, if I bite or I snap, he's not used to it because that's not the way I am. And I just said to him at that time, please don't bite back. I just want a cuddle. Just give me a cuddle. And then I'll probably have a cry and then I'll feel better. And that's exactly what happened a couple of times through then. And wow, what a difference it made. So I think that getting in there a little bit earlier and just warning people that you might not be your usual self, and you might be emotional and you might be a little bit angry at times, but it's the medication, it's not you, and it's not there to stay as well, because I think a lot of people think, wow, is this how I'm going to be always? They also, I feel like they dampened my spirits quite a lot. So I kind of laugh at, small things quite easily. I'm quite easily amused, basically. And the steroids definitely made me feel like I was a bit more subdued, I would say. A lot of the side effects were mentally more than anything else, but that soon goes. And then once you come off of them, you go back to your normal self and how you are. So like I say, don't think that it's there to stay. And I'm going around the houses now, and I've almost forgot what the question was. Did they help? The steroids, they absolutely helped unbelievably, other than the side effects. They, like I say, helped me to get out in the morning and allowed me to try to live a normal life until I found a medication that was a maintenance dose. The answer to that question is yes, they did help massively. Okay, this is one that I actually felt a little bit bad for. So I've been going through the process of starting Humira, or Humira, however you say it. and to start soon. And I saw your video on side effects. Could this happen to me? For those of you that haven't seen the video that I put up on Humira, I'll link it below just so you can watch it. So basically I suffered, it's a rare side effect. So don't think that this will happen to you, because I know lots of people that are on Humira and they have absolutely amazing things to say about it. But for me, it really affected, I was getting really bad panic attacks and anxiety. And that I didn't know it was that until obviously my nurse said to me, try coming off of it for a few months, see how you feel, and then if you still feel the same, you can go back on it. If not, you know, we'll gauge it. And surely enough, literally, I think I'd say about 2 weeks, 3 weeks after stopping it, the panic attacks stopped completely and the anxiety was a lot less. I've always had anxiety from young, so maybe if you've kind of got that in you already, then maybe it will exaggerate that. And it did for me massively. I couldn't live like that. I was sitting in my front room all night awake. It was an awful time. And I suppose that's the key, that don't stay on these medications. If you think it's not working or you're getting bad side effects, stop taking it and try something else, because there's always something else out there. So many medications that you can try. Sorry, that was a fly. Yeah, there's so many medications you can try. So don't suffer on one, even if it's helping your Crohn's, because that was the tough decision, and that was the thing. It worked really well on my Crohn's disease, but obviously on the flip side of it, the mental state, oh my God, it was awful. It was a scary time. So, but yeah, we live and we learn. And through that, I've realised that you don't kind of stay on something. I've spoke to so many people that stay on medications and they're still getting really bad side effects. They're still getting really bad symptoms. And at that point is where I always say, go back to your doctor, consultant, and speak to them and say, this is not working for me. Can I try something else? And I think because a lot of the time they can tend to say to you, you know, stay on it for a little while, see how you go. But you can be that person that says, no, I'm not going to stay on it. I want to try something different. And that's what led me to the medication that I'm on now, where I get no side effects. And it's amazing. And it's completely allowed me to live a completely normal life, which it saved my life, basically. And I will be forever grateful for that. I'm going to do another video, I think, on the medication I take another time, because a lot of people ask questions on that one, and I feel so strongly about it because it really helped me. I've been going, oh no, that's the same one again. Number 4, what advice to give to a newly diagnosed, I have just been diagnosed with UC. Okay, advice I would give to someone who's just been diagnosed is to talk to people and not bottle it up, because that is exactly what I did in the early days. I was only young, well, I suppose I was. I was about 28 when I got diagnosed, and I spent a lot of time acting like I was fine, acting as if there was nothing wrong, which I think, to be honest, it took me a long time to realise that, yeah, and accept that I had something wrong with me. And I think that was a hard thing, because I would still go out with my friends and still go down the pub, and I would be there and be acting like everything was completely fine, and I wasn't. I was so terribly ill. So I just started leaving nights early and not replying to messages and probably upsetting people as a result of that, you know. And it was a really, oh God, am I getting emotional even thinking about this? It was such a hard time. And the advice I would even give to myself now, newly diagnosed, is talk to people and explain to them, because all them friends I've still got now, they're my OGs, they're my long-term friends that I love to pieces, but they didn't know how unwell I was. So I would definitely, 100% explain to people how you feel, because if they don't know, they can't be there for you. And that's what you need in that time of first being diagnosed. You need people to be there for you. And this whole community that we have on Instagram and YouTube is absolutely amazing, and I do not know what I would do without you guys and all my close Crohn's friends that live near me, that I see, because what that does is it stops you feeling alone. It makes you realise that you're not the only one suffering, because that's how you almost feel when you're first diagnosed. You think, why me? Why has this happened to me? This is only me. And I can assure you that it really isn't. But that's why I started up this channel in the first place, was to help people like you that has just been diagnosed and doesn't know what to do. So you can message me at any time, at any point, and I will get back to you for support. So even if you feel like you can't talk to other people, I'm always here to support you. I can promise you that. Oh, this is getting a little bit emotional, isn't it? Oh, this is a good one. Number 5, did you stay on your medication when you had a baby? No. Well, let's go back. So I've had 2 children now, and I was on my Entyvio vedolizumab treatment for both of them. However, it's a newish sort of drug. So I took the plunge and decided to go medication free for both of them. It didn't work out for either of them. I got really unwell, flared back up, and I was, in a right old state. However, I went back on steroids for both of them. I have 2, touch wood, very healthy children, a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old now, and they are healthy, and it enabled me to get through my pregnancy. So again, them steroids just helped me out again. They was my saviour once again. So that's what I did. Everyone's different. Some people stay on their medication, some people don't. But I just, because it's a newer medication, I decided to, if I flare up, that was my plan of action, to go back on the steroids. Prednisolone is a steroid I have, by the way, if I need it. So yeah, that's what happened. Number 6, this was a lovely one. How do you stay so positive? You're always smiling. That is just so lovely, because it's true, I suppose. However, obviously I'm not always smiley and happy. But for those times, I choose not to show them that side online, because I suppose I probably have through the years. I probably showed you all my stories when I'm, having like downtime. But on the whole, I'm grateful. And do you know what it is? And I feel like I'm actually sometimes happier than some people I know that are actually well. And I tell you why. I think that boils down to the fact of I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a day that I wake up and I feel fine. I'm grateful every morning that I wake up, and when I have energy and I don't have fatigue, I bounce out of bed in the morning, and I'm grateful for that. So I suppose you could say that. Obviously, I've always been, that's just my nature to be, a happy, positive person. However, I think I'm even more grateful now, being the age that I am, and just taking each day that you wake up and you feel fine is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I am probably that annoying person on the school run, just hello, la la la. But that's how I feel. I feel happy, and you should feel happy on your good days. Make the most of it, and I just feel like when it is like that, things could always be worse, you know, and that's how I've always looked at things. And I think it's a good way to look at things, that you could always be worse, in a worse state. What vitamins and supplements do you take? On the regular, I have my collagen, which I've found to be really good for fatigue and for tiredness and just general, you know, the aches and pains, and it just, yeah, the aching bones, and that's really helped with all them things. So I take collagen every single morning in a coffee, decaf. Let me just, I don't have any caffeine. And what else do I take? And vitamin D is a definite every single day that I have. I would normally take iron tablets, but I had an iron infusion, so I don't need them at the moment, but I will be back on iron tablets as a maintenance, I'd probably say in a few months' time. So yeah, vitamin D, collagen, iron, and I've just started taking something new actually. Let me just grab it quickly. I read this. It's the Turmeric Co. Raw Turmeric and Ginger Recovery Support. So this is a shot every single morning. I got this from Sainsbury's, and wow, I just feel like I'm not getting nowhere near as bloated. You know, sort of some of your trigger foods that you get, some of your, why can't I say that? Some of your trigger foods haven't been triggering. So this has been really good. I'll be honest, it's not horrible, it's burny, it's very burny. So when you do the shot, it's almost like, I like it because I feel like, oh, that's doing some good. But you might not like it, give it a go. But it's definitely, without a doubt, I've been taking it about a month now, and well, this is my second one, and I've got about that much left, so that's just reminding me I need to go and get a new one. But it's definitely made a difference in terms of my stomach. Maybe it's took down the inflammation, who knows, but it's made me have a nice flat stomach. I'd definitely give that a go. Give it a go. And it's gluten free. Okay, what are my go-to foods in a flare? Anything that's smooth, anything that can go down easy. Smooth porridge. For lunch, it would just, whatever it is, it would just be easy to digest. But for dinners, my go-to dinner, I will always do if I'm in a flare, or, you know, I kind of notice that things are not great this week. I'll have salmon fillet, broccoli stems, a lot of them actually, cooked really well and with mash. And that is my go-to dinner if I'm, yeah, kind of in a flare, basically. So basically anything that has no pips in it, anything that hasn't got skin on it, kind of think of anything like that, anything that could get caught. And that's kind of how I go by. I do cut out dairy completely when I'm in a flare. Cheese is just a for me when I'm in a flare. So yeah, they're the go-tos for me, but every single person's different. So what obviously would make me flare or play me up would be different for you. But when you're actually in a flare, that's the dinners and sort of breakfasts that I would have, just kind of bland really, no sort of spicy sauces or anything like that, and make sure that all the vegetables is really cooked properly. So it's kind of like not mushy, but you know, cooked well. And last but not least, how do you navigate work life and Crohn's? What do you do for work? So going back years ago, I was a hairdresser, and I did that for many, many years. I worked for myself, so I suppose that was easier in a way. And if I had to cancel clients, or when I was worse in the morning, I'd book all clients in the afternoon, evening. I kind of worked it around like that, which was quite good. But I'll be completely honest, it's not a job that I always loved, and I wasn't really passionate about it. So I decided in lockdown to do an interior design course, and that is when so I did that, and I've been doing interiors since. So I do interior styling now, and that's my job. But again, I work for myself, and I find for me, for obviously my life, for Crohn's, and obviously for my children. That works for me because I can be there for my children to pick them up from school, etc. And I can also navigate that because a lot of my work is from home as well. So yeah, and I support you guys on YouTube. So that's basically what I do now. So I do interior styling and I do YouTube. So it's something that I think a lot of people find hard work, like kind of balancing life, Crohn's work. The main thing to do is to not be embarrassed and let people know if you're in a workplace what you've got, and they will hopefully understand that. And yeah, doing something you love as well, because I think stress can be a big part of flare-ups. Stress is such a big thing when it comes to it. So I think as well, trying to do something you love and you enjoy and to keeping your stress to the minimum is definitely a massive help. So yeah, so that's what I do. And that's it for all the questions. I'm going to do a part 2 on this because I know this would have been too long and I have got other questions that I haven't answered. So if I haven't answered your questions in this one, it will be in the part 2 for the other questions. But yeah, I hope this has helped to give you some clarity and just some help really, and put your mind at rest, as always, as what I always try to do on these videos is to put your mind at rest. And yeah, and that's it really. But what I'll do is I'll link anything I've spoke about in the description box below, and I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. I hope you have a good week. Bye.